Hey there tech fans, Rick here from the OREI team with an overview of the UHDS-108 and the UHDS-1016 HDMI splitters. These products were engineered to make it incredibly easy for you to share a single HDMI media source with a collection of monitors simultaneously. The UHDS-108 supports a single input media device and 8 monitors, and the UHDS-1016 will support a single media device and 16 monitors at the same time. Both of these products fully support 4K 60 frames a second, ultra high definition resolution media, and they provide EDID switch settings so you can perfectly match the input resolution and frame rate with the output for your monitors. Now, as part of this overview, I'd like to start with an unboxing of both products just to show you all the components that are included. Then I'll take a closer look at each of the products and explain the connectors, the buttons, and the indicators so you understand how to use them. I'll list the features and benefits both products provide, and then I'll come back and actually install the UHDS-108 right here so you can see how easy it'll be to use with your own equipment. So let's get started with the unboxings. So the UHDS-108, you'll find the splitter, a full instruction manual that shows you connection diagrams, specifications, and all the information you'll need to understand how to use it, a warranty card, and a power supply. With the UHDS-1016, you'll find a little larger splitter. You'll find an instruction manual again with all the information you'll need to know how to use it, a warranty card, and another power supply. Now, if you stay tuned, next I'll take a closer look at each of the units so you understand how to connect them with your equipment, and then I'll list the features and specifications. Inside the kit, you'll find an 8-port or 16-port HDMI splitter depending on which kit you've purchased. You'll also find an appropriate power supply. This end can be plugged into any standard wall outlet. The other end has a barrel connector on it with a locking collar. You'll plug this into the back of the module and finger tighten that collar so it doesn't back itself out. You'll also find a warranty card and a full instruction manual for both the 16 and 8-port splitter that includes connection diagrams, specifications, and all the other information you'll need to understand exactly how to use this product with your equipment. First, we'll take a closer look at the 8-port splitter. The product features a full metal enclosure, which not only makes it extremely durable, but really helps to cut down on outside interference from causing any issues with the audio and video that you'll be distributing to the 8 outputs. On either side of the module, you'll find ventilation slots that are designed to keep the electronics inside at a comfortable temperature and allow any heat that develops during operation to escape. On the front of the unit are a series of indicators. Starting on the left, you'll find a power LED. When you apply power to the unit, the first thing that happens is the unit will start a power on self-test where it checks all the internal electronics to make sure everything's working fine. Once it passes that test, it'll light this LED, letting you know it's ready to use. To the right of that is an input indicator. When you connect this up to your media source, the unit will check the resolution of that connection and the cable quality, and once it passes that test, it'll light this, letting you know you've got a valid input. To the right of that are output indicators. Each of these correspond to an HDMI port in the back, which I'll show you in a minute. When you connect up a monitor to one of those ports, the unit will actually check the resolution and cable quality of that connection and light this up, letting you know it sees a valid connection. To the right of that is a micro USB port, and that's used for pushing firmware to the unit down the road. If new versions come out where features have been improved, you'll connect this up to a computer with a micro USB cable here to a USB-A in the other end. You'll move the firmware to the unit and update that firmware. To the right of that is the EDID switch. You have a choice between standard or TV. This is explained in the manual, and you can make that choice by flipping that switch. On the rear of the unit, you'll find your output ports. They're full-size HDMI ports starting with number 1 through number 8. This is where you'll actually connect up all your monitors. And this is your HDMI input port that you'll connect up to your media device. And you can connect up any number of these ports as outputs and then select between them. The DC input port right here connects up to the power supply that's included with the unit, and you'll plug that into the wall, plug it in here, finger tighten that collar, and that's all the power you'll need to operate the product. Now we'll take a closer look at the 16-port HDMI splitter, and just like the 8-port model, it features a full metal enclosure, which really does help to minimize outside interference from causing any issues with the sensitive electronics inside. On either end, you'll find the same ventilation slots that are designed into the chassis to allow any heat that develops during operation to escape and keep the electronics inside at a very comfortable temperature. On the one end, you'll also notice a bank of EDID switches right here, and those are used to adjust the input resolution against the output resolution of the monitor. So your input media source might be a 1080p or 4K source. The output monitors might be 1080p or 4K. You can use these switches to give you the best possible picture to your output monitors, and all of those are explained very well in the manual. To the right of that is the service port. Just like on the 8-port model, it's a micro USB connection, and that's used to move firmware to the product if features and functions are updated down the road. And the way you'll do that is connect a short cable, micro USB here to your USB-A on your computer. You'll move the file over here and do the update. On the front of the unit, on the left-hand side, you'll find a power indicator, and that's used to turn the unit on. When you apply power to the unit and turn this on, the first thing it'll do is start an internal power on self-test where it's checking all the electronics inside, making sure everything's working fine, and it's going to light that LED up once it passes that test. To the right of it is an input indicator. On the back of this, and I'll show you in a minute, is an HDMI port that you'll connect up to your media source. Once you make that connection, the internal electronics will check the resolution of that source and the cable quality. Once it's satisfied the connection is good, it'll light up that indicator there, letting you know if you've got a valid input source. To the right of that are 16 output indicators. When you connect the monitor up to one of the HDMI ports on the back, the unit will go through a test on that cable and the resolution of that monitor. When it's finished that test, it'll light up the LED, letting you know it sees a valid monitor. On the rear of the unit, you'll find 16 connections for your outputs, 1 through 8, 9 through 16. Each of these are full-size HDMI ports. You'll connect these up to your monitor, and again, once that test is done, it'll light the LED on front that corresponds with that port. In the center is your HDMI input port. That's connected to your media source. You'll go through the self-test like I described a few minutes ago. Once it's satisfied, it'll light the LED, letting you know you have a valid input. All the way to the right is the power port for the unit. You use the included power supply, plug it into the wall, plug the barrel connection in here, finger tighten that collar so it doesn't back itself out, and that's all the power you'll need to operate the unit. The OREI UHDS-108 and UHDS-1016 are compatible with most modern media devices, including home surveillance systems, streaming devices like Roku, video cameras, game consoles, and DVD players. Both products fully support ultra-high definition 4K 60 Hz media. They are HDMI 2.0B and HDCP 2.2 compliant. They provide full EDID control of your media and support HDR media as well. Now I'll show you the connections you'll need to make to use these multi-port HDMI splitters with your own equipment at home. And for this demonstration, I've set up a small media player right here that's looping a video, and that'll act as my HDMI media source. I've also set up 4 monitors around me to act as my output display devices. In front of me, I have the UHDS-108, and I have the power supply plugged in, so we're all ready to go. Now the first connection I'll make is my media device. I've got an HDMI cable connected up to it, and I'll plug that into the HDMI input port on the back of the splitter. Now we can connect up the monitors. I've got 2 cables connected over here, and I'll plug those into HDMI output port number 1 and port number 2. 2 more cables on these monitors, and I'll plug those into HDMI output port number 3 and port number 4. Now we're all set to add power. I've got the power supply plugged in. Simple barrel connector right here plugs into the DC port in the back of the splitter, and I'll finger tighten the collar. Now the minute I add power to the unit, it starts what's called a power on self-test, where it's checking the internal electronics to make sure they're working okay. It's also checking the input resolution of whatever media source you'd like to distribute to the monitors, and checking the resolution of the monitors as well to make whatever adjustments are needed internally to give you the best possible picture. Now you do have some control over that with the EDID switches on the unit, where you can adjust frame rate and resolution to match a monitor if you've got different monitors set up. And it really is just that simple. You can see that that input source is now playing on these 4 monitors. Now, I've only set up 4 monitors, but I have one more that's a little bit smaller that I'd like to show you. And the reason I want to use this one is because it's a different resolution. And as I mentioned, the unit's smart enough to know that you're connecting up different resolution monitors, and it'll make an adjustment to provide the exact right video for this one as well. So I plugged that into HDMI output port number 5. You saw them blink out a second. They were making the adjustments as needed, and there you go, it's displaying on the 5th monitor. Now the UHDS-108 will support up to 8 monitors. If you need to support more monitors, there's a larger model. It's the UHDS-1016, which will support 16 monitors at the same time and give you the same functionality. The connections are the same, it just supports a whole lot more monitors. And it really is just that simple to get it working. I hope you found this overview of the UHDS-108 and the UHDS-1016 HDMI splitters helpful. They really do provide an easy way of sharing the output from any HDMI media device you own with a collection of monitors at the same time, either 8 or 16 depending on the model you pick. The fact that they support 4K 60 frames a second ultra high definition media means you're going to get the best picture possible, and the inclusion of the EDID switch settings means you can make the perfect adjustment for the frame rate and resolution to match your monitors. Everything you need to get started is included with the kit, and with a few simple connections you can be up and running in no time. So until next time, thanks for watching.